and welcome to another Memories Made video. I'm designer Jen Gallacher, and today I'm doing a viewer's request video tutorial. And by that I mean I went back and looked at some of the comments on my blog for some requests that people had made. And a couple of requests were that I use 6x6 paper pads and stamps. So I'm going to combine those two today. And when I am using 6x6 paper pads on a 12x12 layout, I typically design in a grid. And I'm going to be using these 3 collection kits, 2 of which are from Echo Park Paper, and the third is from My Mind's Eye. And I selected them because there's elements in each kit that match. And so you don't have to limit yourself to one manufacturer. You can select different papers from different parts of any of the collections that go together. So this first paper is from the My Mind's Eye, which is a birthday themed collection, but I'm not using it that way. I'm going to use it a little bit different, but I love this little green pattern on it. And then I used a photo on this particular layout, and it's the same photo for every photo that you'll see on this layout. And what it is it's my son that's basically lurking behind my daughter. And I found as I was going through photos for this series that I have a lot of photos of him lurking behind her. So we're going to do a layout about that particular memory, about how he's kind of her little shadow, and he follows her pretty much everywhere in our home, and he just likes to be wherever his big sister is. And so we're going to go ahead and adhere that. This particular orange dot pattern paper is also from the My Mind's Eye collection kit. And we're going to use that right here as well. And then before I finish putting this down, I want to add some other pattern papers. So this third piece of 6x6 pattern paper is from the Echo Park Paper for the Record 2 Tailored collection. That's kind of a mouthful, but basically it's a beautiful collection designed for girls and feminine things like that. So I'm going to pull this up a little bit and straighten it out so it matches and aligns with the pattern paper. So we'll add some additional elements, and the title that I've cut made me laugh a little bit when I was thinking about what I was thinking when I saw these photos. And I thought, my goodness, my son has no concept of personal space. So we're going to call this layout Personal Space. So I've cut the letters out using my Silhouette die cut machine, and this is a font that I typed up onto the Silhouette software rather, and then I welded it together, meaning I allowed the shape to connect and create one big piece. And so we'll go ahead and first add the space letters. And I'm just using a dot runner. You could also use glue, special glue dots. And to center the title, often I will start with either the letter that's in the middle of the word, or I will start with the 2 end letters. Something I learned in type years and years ago, so I guess junior high was useful after all. And then I won't adhere it all the way down just to make sure that, one, I spell it right and I get the spacing the way I want it. So again, your Silhouette die cut machine, or you could cut your title with any die cut machine you have, or you could use thickers or alpha stickers, whatever you like. And just manipulate it until you get it exactly how you want. And then we'll add this personal die cut on top of the first die cut. And some of these cuts are very fragile. When you're choosing a font to cut with the Silhouette machine, you want to make sure that it's just thick enough so that it cuts easily in your machine. Some of the thinner TrueType fonts don't quite cut as well. So then I've cut a little strip from the Echo Park Paper Sweet Day collection, and I'm going to put this at the bottom of this 6x6 paper pad. And then I have on the other side of the floral is a diagonal pink pattern paper. And I'm going to slightly overlap it. So you can see how I'm starting to build kind of a grid design. Also from the Sweet Day collection is this particular pattern paper with hexagons, and I'm going to go ahead and add several of those that I have cut out. One way to save money when you are designing is to cut elements from the pattern paper and use them on your page, because they don't cost any more money. They're not an added embellishment, they're just an embellishment that already is available for you to use. And so pattern paper is a great embellishment, whether you've thought of it like that before. Look and see if there's larger embellishments, or rather shapes, on your pattern paper that you can easily cut out. Leave a little bit of space at the top because I want to add a border. And I just picked out colors and patterns that I liked, so you could pick out whatever you want. And I love mixing and matching patterns from different manufacturers, as you saw in the last video. And I do it just by selecting one of the pattern papers first and then matching all the rest of the patterns to that first pattern. If you're putting a text paper on the pattern on your page, you want to make sure the text faces up correctly. I have a second photo of my son, and this one's in colored. Again, lurking behind my poor daughter. She's trying her hardest to be patient with him. This is from a few years ago, but it's actually a story I'd never documented. So I found it and decided to include it in my layout today. Alright, then I have some different pattern papers. This is from Simple Stories. It's from their camping collection, but the yellow is a nice tone for this page. And this is from the Dots and Stripes collection from Echo Park paper. And I'm simply going to create some pennants by cutting a triangular shape from the bottom of each paper. This is easy to do. Or if you prefer, you can use your Silhouette die cut machine, and there are lots of different shapes that are pennants that you can download from the Silhouette store and cut with. We'll just slightly overlap them. And again, I'm going to cover this middle section with a sheet of cardstock. I've printed my journaling on some craft cardstock, and to save time, I pre-stitched around the edge of the shape. And now I'm just going to ink the edges with some pigment brown ink. And I'll recommend some different ink colors for you in the products section found on my blog. And we'll go ahead and add that right there. Now I have a strip of coral cardstock that has a texture to it, and this coral matches the coral found in this dot. And we'll go ahead and adhere that right across the center of the page. 6x6 pattern paper is more like a puzzle when you're using it on a 12x12 sheet of paper. So you kind of have to think in terms of how can I layer this, and how do I want my grid to be divided up. A grid is just one way to use 6x6 pattern paper on your project. This little gray die cut is from Studio Calico, and I like the nice gray. And then I have a chipboard sticker from the Tailored collection that I'm going to use. It's a pink number 2 with a dot. And I'm going to add some glue dots to it, even though it is self-adhesive. And then I have tied some buttons with twine, and I'm going to go ahead and add those to my page. And what I did is I selected several different shapes and types of buttons in the same blue tone as the Echo Park Paper Sweet Day collection. And I even have a really, really teeny tiny button. We'll trim off the excess twine. Now I want to do a bit of layering over here, so I have several die cuts. I have this one from Studio Calico, and these 3 are from Crepe Paper, as is this ticket shape. So the way that I start layering is I'll start with the biggest item first. I'm going to tuck this behind. And if you can't tuck it behind, then just cut it. Use lines within the pattern to get it exactly where you want it. And then we will add this recipe die cut from Crepe Paper. It's called Extreme Chocolate Cake. And then this cupcake die cut. And before I go any further, I want to add a sentiment stamp. And someone asked about stamping. And what I do is I look for an area on the page that maybe needs a little bit of filler. And then I shop my own stamp supplies. And today I picked a stamp that says, "So happy to have you in my life." And then I just stamp and ink it somewhere on my page. And there it supports my theme and it serves as a secondary journaling. As you can see, I've just stamped a sentiment at the bottom. So one way to incorporate stamps is to use sentiment stamps. So this ticket I thought would be fun with twine wrapped around it. So I have some yellow baker's twine from Doodlebug Design. And before I tie it into a knot, I'm going to take this very tiny tag and I'm going to poke the hole out of the die cut. And if it doesn't come out, I can use a hole punch that's quite small to help punch it out. And then you slide it from your punch and thread the twine up through the bottom of that punched hole. And then from there you can tie the twine in a knot or a bow. It's up to you. So I've added several different types of twine. One is white crochet twine and one is baker's twine. I like the baker's twine for the added color. And then I'll adhere this on my layout with some glue dots. You can see I've just layered a bunch of different shapes. I also have this happy circle die cut that I'm going to add. That is also from the Crate Paper die cut. It's their ephemera pack. And then I have some enamel dots from My Mind's Eye that I'm going to add to this card as well in a triangle of 3. And then here at the bottom I have some 2 wood veneer shapes. One's a boy and one's a girl, and that's to help symbolize brother and sister hanging out together. And we'll put them at the bottom of the journaling card. And then to finish off the page, I'm going to use some Canson tan photo corners. These come in white and black, and I'm using the tan. So you can see several different ways to incorporate 6x6 paper pads, as well as a way to incorporate stamping. Be sure to visit my blog for the complete supply list and watch for a new Memories Made video coming soon.